Hey guys, Shannon Kirchberg here, Safety Director for Tucci and Sons. I'm here today to talk to you about wildfire smoke safety. So this training is going to tell you all about how to work safely in wildfire smoke conditions. So this training is going to introduce you to wildfire smoke, workplace safety, and some health regulations. All right, so Washington workers who may be exposed to wildfire smoke, like you guys when you're working out in the field, we're required to train you on how to protect yourself from the smoke. So, regulations are in place to protect all workers from the dangers of wildfire smoke. And in this training today, you're going to understand the dangers of wildfire smoke and what we as Tucci are doing and have put in place to protect your health. Not that you don't know this, but wildfire smoke is a hazardous mixture of gases, liquid droplets, and tiny particles. Unless you're working near a fire, the greatest hazard to somebody in wildfire smoke is from the very fine particles. The particles that measure less than 2.5 micrometers in diameter are the most dangerous. This particular matter is a health risk, whether you're exposed to it for a short period of time or a long period of time, doesn't matter. So these fine particles in wildfire smoke, they're called PM 2.5, but they are very small. This graphic here shows you a PM 2.5, that's brown. Pollen is the tannish color, so you can see how much bigger pollen is. And this is comparing it to a human hair. So this is just giving you an idea of how tiny those tiny particles really are. So the reason that this is so dangerous is because these particular tiny particles, these PM 2.5 particles, they can get into the lowest parts of your lungs and can even get into your bloodstream. Um, Wildfire smoke can cause many different health problems, and we're going to cover some of those today. If you start to experience wildfire smoke symptoms, even mild ones, it indicates that you're being overexposed to the smoke and you need to report it to your foreman or another supervisor. We'll help you. We'll allow you to get medical advice. We'll allow you to follow that medical advice that you've been given. You can seek medical attention if needed. We can even take steps to reduce your exposure. So how would we do this? It would include like providing you access to clean air, maybe using a respirator or sitting in the front of a truck that has the air conditioning on that's filtering the air. So just taking some steps to control your exposure. Guys, working in wildfire smoke can be dangerous. I don't want anybody to laugh this off because this is really serious. I have personally had a friend that died of wildfire smoke exposure and she was sitting in an office. So wildfire smoke can harm your health even if you can't see it or smell it. So it doesn't matter. Even healthy people can be harmed by the wildfire smoke. So pay attention and listen to your body. So on this slide listed here are some respiratory symptoms that can be caused by wildfire smoke. These symptoms include things like runny nose, sore throat, or more serious ones like difficulty breathing, like you're having an asthma attack. These symptoms are super concerning for a heart attack, right? These are serious symptoms. As a heart attack, it'll cause permanent heart damage or even death. So these ones, watch these. If you're experiencing any of these, we need to get you medical attention immediately. A stroke occurs when something blocks blood supply to part of the brain or when blood vessels in the brain burst. In either case, parts of the brain can be damaged or even die. A stroke can cause lasting brain damage, long-term disability, or even death. Serious stuff. Anyone can become sensitive to smoky air. Having a recent respiratory illness, having spent a lot of time in smoky air, or doing hard work in smoky air can make you at risk for severe illness. Sensitive groups include those with pre-existing health conditions, those with increased duration of exposure, and those whose work results in an increased breathing rate, including outdoor workers. Although everyone is impacted by wildfire smoke exposure, sensitive groups are among those most likely to experience health problems from exposure to wildfire smoke. Some workers are more sensitive to air pollution and have a higher risk for health effects from wildfire smoke exposure. Examples of sensitive groups include those that are listed on this slide. Watch for symptoms of wildfire smoke exposure as a sign to reduce your exposure. The particulate matter in wildfire smoke can harm your health, guys, even at low levels of exposure. It's so important for you to notify your foreman or your supervisor when you're experiencing symptoms of wildfire smoke exposure so that we can respond appropriately. We will have provisions made in advance for prompt medical attention for all of our employees who are experiencing symptoms of wildfire smoke exposure. Do not ignore symptoms. Wildfire smoke can be hazardous even when you cannot see it or smell it. We cannot retaliate against you for reporting symptoms, for seeking medical attention, or for following medical advice you have been given. When the current PM 2.5 is 250.5 or more, we will ensure workers experiencing symptoms requiring immediate medical attention be moved to a location that ensures sufficient clean air. Symptoms requiring immediate medical attention include, but are not limited to, those that are listed below. These are serious, guys. Pay attention to your body, and if you experience any of these symptoms, please let us know. If you see a coworker having issues or you think that medical attention is needed sooner rather than later, call 911 or seek emergency medical care immediately. Additionally, you should follow any advice you've been given by your medical provider. We are required by wildfire smoke rules to allow employees who show signs of injury or illness due to wildfire smoke exposure to seek medical attention and follow medical advice they have been given. We will not retaliate against affected employees for seeking such medical attention or following medical advice. We have made provisions to provide prompt medical attention for our employees in the event of serious injury or illness caused by wildfire smoke exposure. Wildfire smoke is a serious work-related hazard for outdoor workers. You can file for workers' compensation claim to have your symptoms evaluated. You can file a workers' compensation claim whether you have personal health insurance or not. We can't prevent you from or retaliate against you for filing a workers' compensation claim. In most cases, L&I will pay for your initial medical evaluation, even if your claim's denied. If your claim is allowed, the workers' compensation will cover medical bills directly related to the condition and partial wage replacement. Wildfire smoke can also impact your mental health. Wildfire smoke can cause stress by limiting your daily outdoor activities, isolating you from friends and family, and disrupting your daily routines. Steps to take care of yourself can include staying connected with friends and family despite changes to your daily routine. Keep your indoor air as clean as possible. Moving your activities indoor to places with cleaner air. Keep track of the air quality and take advantage of low PM 2.5 levels by enjoying the outdoors. Air quality monitoring equipment is located throughout Washington State. Washington safety and health regulations are based off of the levels of wildfire smoke. There are many readily available tools that report on local air quality throughout the state. Some sources of air quality information are listed here. There are two primary ways air quality is reported. So fine particulate matter, or PM 2.5, is reported as micrograms per cubic meter or as an air quality index for PM 2.5. You can use either number, AQI or the PMI 2.5, just so long as it's reporting on the PM 2.5. AQI monitoring sites measure several harmful pollutants, but the pollutant of particular concern for wildfire smoke is that PM 2.5. So make sure that when you're looking at a report that you are looking at the PM 2.5 and not everything else that is jumbled into that report. This is a snapshot of the Washington Department of Ecology's website. When you go to their air quality map online, you'll first get results for air quality, which includes all kinds of different pollutants. So you want to look for the blue buttons at the top of the map and select the PM 2.5. That way you'll be sure to be getting the correct readings that you want to for wildfire smoke. Be sure to select the blue button at the top of the map labeled PM 2.5 to ensure you're getting air pollution results specific to wildfire smoke. Change that drop-down menu at the top left of the map from air quality index to pollutant. The map shows the air sensors throughout Washington, and you're going to select the one that is closest to your location. Once you select your sensor, you'll get a graph with the hourly PM 2.5 for that location. There are also some phone apps that you can use for air quality. This is a screenshot from the Washington Department of Ecology's phone app. When you tap on a location, you'll get a pop-up box. Notice that they're reporting AQI information for two pollutants, PM10 and PM2.5. Trying to measure the smoke levels from what the smoke looks like or how much of the smoke smells is not as good a gauge as how much PM 2.5 is in the air. Use reliable websites and phone apps to find the smoke levels around you. You can also find wildfire smoke forecast information online. The Washington Department of Ecology's map also has a smoke forecast map. Smoke forecasts can help you anticipate the smoke levels and help you schedule work for the next couple of days. Again, we got to make sure that we select that blue button at the top of the map labeled PM 2.5 to make sure that we're getting air pollution results specific to wildfire smoke. This is the website that I use to monitor air quality around our work zones. This is just a screenshot, but this gives you an idea of what it looks like and what I use to gather that data. This is a lot of information on one slide, but basically, breaking it down, the Washington wildfire smoke rules have defined 5 air quality action levels. When the air quality in your work area meets or exceeds one of these numbers, we are required to take action to protect your health. Okay, in the following slides, I summarize the key requirements for wildfire smoke rules. It's going to get really dry and really boring. We're providing this training because it is required under the wildfire smoke rules. We have a wildfire smoke response plan located in our health and safety manual. When the wildfire smoke rolls in, we will be in continuous communication with you about the current smoke conditions where you're working through your supervisor or foreman via text messages. We will monitor the wildfire smoke levels at all job sites. We get our air quality information from Washington Ecology's Air Quality Washington. We look at the current 1 hour average of PM 2.5. It's important that you tell your foreman if you develop any symptoms related to wildfire smoke. Our plans for providing you prompt medical attention include calling 911 and moving employees inside. Also, we can change your work assignments to get you out of the smoke. Listed here are the requirements when the wildfire smoke reaches PM 2.5 or 20.5 micrograms per cubic meter or more. We'll notify you when the wildfire smoke levels get to that height. Only trained employees will be allowed to work outdoors. Trying to measure the smoke level from what the smoke looks like or how much of the smoke smells is not a good gauge for how much PM 2.5 is in the air. So we use reliable websites and phone apps to find out what our smoke levels are. When wildfire smoke levels reach 35.5 micrograms per cubic meter or more, we will alert you of the air quality, implement exposure controls to protect all of our workers from wildfire smoke, and make respirators available and encourage their voluntary use. Here are some ways to limit your exposure to wildfire smoke. HEPA filters are great. They can filter out the PM 2.5 and wildfire smoke. Having a spot inside your house with well-filtered air really is the best way to protect yourself from wildfire smoke. Another good way is to change or relocate your work to avoid the smoke. Doing hard work that increases breathing means you're breathing in more smoke and potentially absorbing more particles. So avoiding tasks that increase your breathing rate, taking more breaks, especially out of the smoke in the cab of a truck or another vehicle, um, will help you recover from the harmful effects of wildfire smoke when working out in the field. Additionally, another way to protect your lungs and health is by avoiding or reducing work that creates additional dust, fumes, or smoke. Some examples of tasks that create a lot of particulates include jackhammering, sawing concrete, welding, and also spray painting. We care about the health of all of you, and we will implement these methods to protect our employees from wildfire smoke. When the current PM 2.5 is 35.5 or more, we'll implement these exposure controls on this slide. When the smoke levels reach 250.5 micrograms per cubic meter, we will do the following. Ensure workers experiencing symptoms requiring immediate medical attention be moved to a location that ensures sufficient clean air. This could be in the cab of a truck, or a vehicle that's nearby, or even a business or coffee shop. We'll distribute the N95 respirators to all of our employees for voluntary use and make sure that each worker is given the N95 respirator. You can choose if you want to wear it. If not, that's your choice. Every foreman in TCS has a box of N95 masks that they will distribute to workers. When the PM 2.5 is 500.4 or more, this is when respirators are required. So this is when we're going to come to you and tell you that in order to work outside, you're going to have to wear an N95 mask. When the air quality is at 555 of PM 2.5, the safety director and superintendent will evaluate air quality forecasts and communicate next steps to the team. When the PM 2.5 is 35.5 micrograms per cubic meter, respirators will be provided to you. Respirators can effectively protect you from the hazards of wildfire smoke exposure when properly selected and worn. Respirator use can be beneficial even when wildfire smoke levels are relatively low. When provided by the employer, respirators must be appropriate for the air quality hazards in the workplace. The picture at the top shows an example of an N95, also called a filtered facepiece respirator. These images show some of the many types of filtering facepiece respirators. For PM 2.5, NIOSH certified respirators with at least an N95 particulate filter are required. It's important to point out that some common items will not provide you with protection from wildfire smoke. So no KN95, no just face mask, no bandanas, scarves, t-shirts, must be N95. For safe and effective respiratory use, you need to make sure that you're following the manufacturer's instructions on how to use and maintain your respirator. Pay attention to the warnings regarding the respirator's limitations. Okay, guys, no calls, no texts. This is not my rule. This is L&I, okay? So a respirator will be much less protective if facial hair prevents the respirator from forming an effective seal over the nose and mouth. This picture shows some facial hairstyles that will not work with a tight-fitting respirator. In order to receive the best respirator protection, respirator users are encouraged to shave any facial hair that may interfere with effective respirator use. Specific types of respirators provide protection from wildfire smoke. However, respirators also increase your breathing resistance, causing you to work harder to breathe. If you have heart or lung problems, talk to your doctor or another medical provider before using a respirator. A medical evaluation is conducted as part of the evaluating respirator selection and used to ensure that the wearer is healthy enough to perform work while wearing a respirator. Employers are not required to provide a medical evaluation for voluntary use of N95 respirators for wildfire smoke below a current PMI of 500.4 unless employers choose to require respirator use. We do not require respirator use until it gets up to a certain level. If you have questions about whether it is safe for you to wear a respirator, you should talk to your doctor. Filtered face piece respirators can't be cleaned or repaired if soiled or damaged. In many cases, filtered face piece respirators will need to be replaced daily. So when you're wearing it all day, just pitch it, get a new one when you come back the next day if it's still smoky. Replace your filtered face piece respirator immediately if it becomes hard or difficult to breathe, if it's damaged, or if you can see dirt or dust on the inside of the mask. Respirators have limitations. Filtering face piece respirators can provide protection from certain harmful chemicals if levels are not too high. However, they don't work for all situations and all chemicals. There are many different types of respirators, and they have to be carefully selected for the specific hazard in the air. There are multiple types of filtering face piece respirators. N95 respirators provide a good protection against wildfire smoke. 95 means the mask filters out 95% of particulate matter in the air. Filtering face piece respirators are also labeled with the letters N, R, or P. N stands for not resistant to oil, R stands for somewhat resistant to oil, and P stands for strongly resistant to oil. And N95, N99, or N100 should not be used if oil could be present in the air. Okay, so respirators are required to be worn when we, Tucci & Sons, require respirator use. A respirator hazard, such as exposure to a substance over the permissible exposure limit, the PEL, or hazardous exposure to an airborne biological hazard is present. Work under the scope of this rule where the current PM 2.5 is 500.4 or higher. If respirator use is required, you will be enrolled in a complete respiratory protection program, which includes additional training, fit testing, and medical evaluations. We require that you tell us and let us know that you experience symptoms of wildfire smoke exposure. This is so that we can monitor you to determine whether medical attention is necessary. Any employee can seek medical attention or follow medical advice they have been given for symptoms potentially related to wildfire smoke exposure. We cannot and will not retaliate against those employees for seeking medical attention or following the medical advice they have been given. The response to wildfire smoke exposure symptoms will be determined based on the severity. Response can include calling 911, procedures on transporting someone to emergency medical service providers where or when emergency transportation is not available, moving an employee inside, possibly changing work assignments. When the current PM 2.5 is 250.5, AQI 301 or AQI 351 after May 6, 2024 or more, we will ensure workers experience adverse symptoms requiring medical attention be moved to a location that ensures sufficient clean air. We will move these workers to foreman or superintendent's vehicle with filtered air. Employees exhibiting wildfire smoke exposure symptoms will be monitored by the safety director or supervisor in the cab of a foreman or superintendent's vehicle with filtered air until it is decided to take the employee to urgent care for medical treatment. For a copy of our plan, you can ask me, you can ask your foreman, you can reach out to the superintendent. But probably the best bet, just send me a text and I'll get it to you. Oh boy, have we discussed a lot in the past 23 minutes. So we discussed many methods on how you can stay safe while working in wildfire smoke. Take these precautions to protect your health when working in the presence of wildfire smoke. During this training, we discussed why wildfire smoke is dangerous to your health, how to locate air quality data for your work area, how to recognize when the wildfire smoke precautions are required, how to properly use a filtered face piece respirator like an N95, and how to take action when air quality conditions worsen or you experience an adverse health effect from wildfire smoke exposure. If you have questions, please talk to your supervisor, your foreman, or reach out to me. Again, my name is Shannon Kirchberg. I'm the Director of Safety for Tucci, and you can reach me on my mobile, 253-355-9312. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.